Hey guys, thanks for listening to The Cynical Nerd. Please keep in mind that we do not avoid spoilers for any of our topics, whether they are current or past media. Listen at your own risk.
Oh, damn it.
Sometimes?
No, but I feel like if I as soon as I see your face, I have this like reaction where I'm like, hit record now, like just do it now, and then it won't. There's just no way it could possibly happen. Even when I see you in person, like at Odin's birthday, I was like, hit record, hit record, do it now. But because I don't
want to miss a thing.
Also because of that. That's also
even when I try.
Very good.
Sorry. We got stuff to talk about today.
Happy Father's Day.
Oh, thanks, you rascal. You too.
I've been practicing that all day. I was like, I have to say Happy Father. My like knee jerk reaction always is to say everything like I'm being an asshole. Like that's just how I talk. And so like how I naturally want to say that, not because I don't wish you a Happy Father's Day, but I want to be like Happy Father's Day, bitch, or something like that. But
I wish
genuinely,
you would though.
I mean to you, Happy Father's Day. In all sincerity, you and Sam have given us a lot of advice over this past year, so I appreciate you and your counsel, along with the rest of the bulls. And I hope you had a great day. I know you did. We already talked about this. We talk off of the podcast. Like it's not like
just so you guys, we're not like the talent, and then when the show's over, we don't want anything to do with each other. It's not like that. We talk all week. We have
Wouldn't it be weird if we had that relationship where we act like we're like really like close buddies on the show?
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, asshole, just upload your file. Let's get this over with. See you next week.
What if I'm making conspiracy theories about ourselves. What if the save it for the pod was just because we couldn't stand talking to each other outside of the podcast?
I can't take you right now.
No, I want my opinions to be fresh. And I just roll my eyes and ask someone to bring me a smattering of grapes and cheeses. As you do.
As one does.
I would assume like you're not rich until you just had someone feeding you grapes on like a Romanesque chair. What are those chairs used for? It's like one armrest and then it's just like a bed.
It's got to be bad for your shoulder, right? You always have to lay like this. Can't be good.
Nice tangent. I wish you a very happy Father's Day as well. And you're right. We did talk about it off podcast, but if we don't talk about it on podcast, does it really exist?
Yeah, no.
Right, exactly. I'm glad you knew where I was going with that. I had a lovely day. I saw you did as well. Because I talked about getting the sous vide, I think last week on the podcast, so I'm not gonna beat that dead horse. Beat that dead, delicious, super tender horse. But I cooked another sous vide steak for myself. I think I've locked in my personal temperature, like the one I love the most.
Yeah.
And things are whereas you got to like spend a day with your actual family. My family,
my actual family, not the fake family, the real one.
Yeah, my family disappeared. We had a barbecue to go to, and I couldn't go because my Maja was stuck in Texas. But thank God she's okay. By the way, she's home now. Thank God she did, because it gave us the whole of Friday night to play Toidles
and
together.
We had a really good time with that, didn't we?
We really did. And we're going to talk about that today. About how
I'm getting a sous vide. Don't move too far away from that, because it just
okay.
UNFT. I'm doing it. I'm spending the money.
I'm sorry. I wasn't.
You don't have
I
to
know
apologize.
what that's like. Okay, I just want you to know I did not. My intention was not to sell you on one. I know what that's like.
I feel like part of your intention was to sell me on it, like a little bit, like not your primary, but it was there.
Here's the thing. I did not have any intention to be like, buy this. I do want you to experience it though.
Right.
Which is why I said, I'll just come over, Daddy. I'll sous vide you a filet. You don't have to, but I can understand that. Much like me, you're an adult man who wants the things that he wants when he wants them. That's what we fucking work for.
I could never be a fucking Buddhist. How they're like,
Oh, no.
Material wealth. You don't want any of that. I'm like, no,
material
I want
stuff's
everything.
the best.
Anything I see that's like shiny, I want it immediately.
And the bad part is, I think like we're basically heroin addicts with that stuff, and we make it worse for each other. So I was like, we were like, I'm gonna get a PS5, and we both got PS5s together.
Yeah,
and now
we've
I'm
inspired
like,
each other. We've spent like a collective like $12,000 since we've met each other. It's kind of
I don't know about 12,000, but I mean, legitimately, the SM7B, PS5, the 3080s. Oh my God, it goes back away. The sous vide now, the webcam. There's a list. Yeah. There is a monetary value to this. There's a number somewhere that I don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah. I like shit. I just like shit.
I do. I like new shit.
Yeah.
I like good shit.
It makes me feel good. And it is, like you said, it's like we're heroin addicts, which like I understand the allegory, but isn't it better than being a heroin addict? Because we could as easily spend our money on heroin.
Yeah, because I get to spend my money,
honestly. But
right, because I get to spend my money on stuff, and then still drink and ruin my liver. So it works out best of both worlds.
Yeah. Over time, though, it's the long game. You know, you get it.
Right. Killing them softly, but except for that, it's slowly.
Right.
And by them, it's me. Sorry, it's got weird and dark.
I went down a slide with my son on Father's Day, which is like,
okay.
I'm happy that I have the memory, but it was not enjoyable during whatsoever. These are slides made for like 3 and 4 year old children.
That was going to be my first question. Was what was this? Who is this slide rated for?
Yeah, I already have bad hips, and then they just like a fucking V inward down a slide, and it had a curve on it too. So it was like, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, now you're broken.
And Veronica took a video, and when I first went down, I went, woo, because I was trying to cover up the pain by sounding like I was having fun. Nope, it just hurt really bad.
Oh, no. Yeah. I would like to see that video, though.
I'm glad it was a good day, though.
That's good. I honestly, I'm not complaining because I understand why my day played out the way it did, but I would have liked to have spent some more time with that little talkative rascal downstairs because he's hilarious now.
Yeah, but like, don't days that you get to yourself gotta kick fucking ass a little
100%. I would never take it back.
I have kind of amazing a little bit, isn't it?
I have a week off. No, I'm off work next week. I took vacation week.
Oh, wonderful.
And we don't have plans.
That's so cool. That's even
I know
better.
we're doing a lot of pre-roll here, but I don't care. I'm just going with it.
Do it.
Do it. There's like, it's not really kindergarten, but it's like pre-K stuff. They have like a school year proper, and they do a summer session too. With the summer session is literally just like daycare. They just let them play all day. Mm-hmm. But the school year, they try to focus on learning and stuff like that. Oh, by the way, thanks to our sponsor this week for the White Claw Surf.
Dude, they're so good, right?
They're pretty good. They give me too much heartburn. The raspberries don't, which is why they're chef's kiss. They're very tasty though. And I might as well crack it. It's the last one. I'm just sitting here staring at me, and now that you did it, heroin. So
yeah, I have 4 in front of me actually. No problem.
That old heroin. I got a 6er downstairs. Beat me now. I laugh about it because it makes me sad if I think too hard. We have it's like. They have like a summer session and a school year session. And the school year session they focus on learning. Doesn't matter. What matters to my life, selfishly,
just about you,
is that there's a week where he doesn't get to go. They're closed. So that's next week.
Yeah.
So Samantha and I were both just going to take off instead of having to worry about sitters. Yeah. She's only taking off a couple days. So I have like a weird amalgam of days next week. Like I think Monday it's me and him just hanging out. Maybe I'll take him somewhere. Tuesday he's like, Tuesday is my day.
Yeah.
I think he's like going to school, and I get to sit here and pull my pud and sit in my boxers.
That's awesome.
I'm just gonna be great. I'm gonna message you guys all day how wonderful doing nothing is. Wednesday, Sam is off too. I think she's off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we were thinking about maybe doing something cool, like taking him for the day down to like the Smithsonian in DC or something.
Oh, 100.
He loves
that would be a
shit.
Blast. Yeah.
Anyway, podcast stuff. Since this is not actually a child.
Right.
This is this episode 72?
72?
Is this episode
72? We've been going like 2 years strong now. Whenever you're like, is it episode? I have no idea. 69 was the only number I knew. Out of all
right.
Yeah.
As you should. This is episode 72. We'll have to keep that fresh in mind so we can think of a fucking episode title later on. But let's start digging in. We got a decent amount of week in review, like 4 trailers, TMNT. And then we have Obi-Wan episode 5, Boys episode 5, Miss Marvel. Did you watch Miss Marvel?
I did.
Episode 2? So I'm sorry to hear that. And did you watch the Nick Cage movie?
Sure did.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to talk about that one. So, oh, sorry. I'm Vernon Fenwick, and this is the news. Lady Gaga, we just talked about the script being shown for Joker 2, Folie à Deux. Hence our title last week, which was Folie à Dud, which I was very proud of. And right off the heels of that picture, a rumor came out from the Hollywood Reporter, like
that night when we were done recording.
That fucking night. The most trustworthy of Hollywood rumors. It says that Lady Gaga is in talks to join the second Joker in the role of Harley Quinn, and that it may be being designed as a musical. And I thought, you know what? My initial visceral reaction was to recoil and go, ugh. Look, dude, how else were they going to do something crazy? Somebody was making comparisons. I don't know Martin Scorsese's filmography. Didn't he have a movie that was a musical?
Probably. I haven't seen his whole filmography.
Okay, I just figured you did.
No, I feel the exact same way. Let me just start with that my initial reaction was like, oh, really? A musical? Like what? Why? And then it was kind of like, well, I was thinking about what we were talking about last week and how it's like, well, where do you go with the story? Like, what do you do?
New York. Had Robert De Niro in it,
right.
And people were like, I mean, we're not saying he's going to pull another Martin Scorsese reference. You know how Joker was heavily inspired by those 70s Taxi Driver and stuff. But that,
Taxi Driver?
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Classic. That, if this movie's going to be crazy and continue to surprise us and really get in the head of this deranged person, and if he's doing something with another character who kind of like emboldens his craziness, then sure, like hit me, what's your idea? It's either going to be wonderful or it's going to be fucking terrible. I'm ready to figure it out.
Yeah. And it's like, I was saying last week, like, what are they going to do? Like, how could they do something interesting? Is it just going to retread the same, like, oh, broken person in a broken society? Who's the victim? No one's really the victim. Both people are the perpetrator. It's like they did that so well with the first one. It's like, well, if you add on to that, you risk ruining the point of the original one. So I feel like you have to do something out of left field a little bit for it to be good. And here's the thing. I had to come to terms with something like 5-6 years ago. I love musicals. Like, for whatever reason, my whole life when I was a kid, like I was always like, musicals, they're so lame. Like but then it'd be like, oh, Sweeney Todd's good though. And oh, this is good. Oh, but I like this musical. Oh, this one's pretty good though. And all of a sudden one day I was like, oh, I think I like musicals. Again, I have trust in Joaquin Phoenix's ability to pick a script. He turned down the role of Doctor Strange because he just didn't want to commit to that many films. So the fact that he's coming back to, they initially offered him the role before Benadryl Cumberbatch, and he turned it down because he just thought, well, that's too many movies. I don't want to be tied down to this. So the fact that he's coming back for a sequel to this, when, if I remember correctly, he initially, like, a part of his deal was I'll only do one movie. That says to me the script must have been pretty good for him to come back.
Or at least wild enough that he thought we could maybe make something special out of
make
this.
It work. Yeah. And if you think about it, like, one of the cooler and like weirder segments of the first one were like whenever he would do something where he would sort of push back against like societal norms, I guess, like when he first kills the guys in the subway, he like runs away. He's in a panic. He goes into that, like public restroom and he does this weird, like meditative dance that he then does like a couple more times throughout the film. Like, that's a good spot to just like inject a musical number if you do it right. But anyway, so I'm on board. We'll see. But
so I didn't know this. I mean, I'm going to insult the entire French population right now. I've heard the idiom folie à deux. Folie à deux. I didn't actually know what it meant. Did you know what it meant?
Folly for two?
No. Actually,
no.
Folie à deux is defined as an identical or similar mental disorder affecting two or more individuals, typically members of a close family. So that's why the immediate rumors of Harley Quinn coming out, or Harley Quinn being a part of it, were involved. And then this came out from the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, I mean,
and Lady Gaga is an excellent singer, and you can be as anti-mainstream as you want. You just cannot deny that woman is a talented singer.
Yeah, never mind. That's just not worth that fight. I'm not gonna do it. There's like one song of hers that I actually don't think is that good. But it's like it's a very important song to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that would be bad to just say that. So now that I've given it away, let's move on.
Well, no, you have to do it now. You made this whole thing.
I know that a lot of her hits are like anthemic and big and epic and almost, I would say. I don't like Born This Way.
Yeah.
And I know that the song is important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't like it or that it doesn't tell a very important message about, be who you are and love yourself and fuck it. But the song itself does not please my eardrums.
I'm not even familiar with it. I'm not saying, like, I couldn't name one Lady Gaga song to you. Well, I probably could, but I'm saying, like,
she's a wonderful singer.
But her ability to sing is unquestionably good.
Oh, yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Good singer, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good singer, yeah. She was in that. I'm so sorry. This is fucking this up. She was in that movie with Bradley Cooper.
Star is Born.
There you go. Star is Born. Thank you. That's what you're here for, bro. We're bouncing off each other. We're like bouncy balls in here. We're like the sea lions in the tank hitting beach balls around to make the plot for Family Guy. I don't know where that came from.
Well,
that like the hit song that came out of that film is so good.
It's very good.
Anyway, moving on.
Sad movie.
Very sad film.
Yeah.
That's all. We talked about that longer than I thought we would.
Yeah.
This next one, much like Deep Impact and Armageddon, there are 2 Pinocchio films coming out in development around the same time. I don't know why this is a phenomenon.
What a great way to
open. You're welcome. I was actually
such a good segue.
I don't understand why this happens in Hollywood, but it tends to happen. I don't know if it was just like a rights thing, like maybe did the rights for Pinocchio like fucking go to public domain or something. I don't know, but Disney's developing their own live action retelling of their classic Disney animation film Pinocchio. And Guillermo del Toro is doing a stop motion animated film for Netflix. And the pictures from this are fucking gorgeous. The stop motion looks incredible. And if you ask me which one of these 2 I'm more excited for, it's not even a contest.
Yeah.
It's clearly Creepy Pedo Geppetto. I'm kidding. This one looks 1,000 times cooler.
Yeah.
And just because I know it's gonna have Guillermo's like creepy touch in it. And I don't mean like pedo creepy touch. I mean like everything looks a little creepy. Pan's Labyrinth is like one of my top probably 10 films. It's not a franchise film. Like it is probably in my top 10.
Yeah.
Non-franchise films because I am a sucker for those big tent poles. Pinocchio will be accompanied by, of course, Sebastian J. Cricket, but Ewan McGregor is voicing him.
Oh.
He's not going to be called Jiminy Cricket. He would be called Sebastian J. Cricket because I don't know.
Because Jiminy was taken.
Yeah, because Jiminy.
And it has the animation director from Fantastic Mr. Fox, which was also an incredible movie. It's a Wes Anderson movie, but get the fuck over yourself if you haven't seen it.
Right.
You should watch it. It's very good.
But most importantly, the villain is voiced by Christoph Waltz.
Oh, very nice. God, he is a sensation, that man. My God.
I love it so much. This comes out in December of 2022. If you didn't catch my heavy sarcasm earlier, probably about a magnitude of 10 or more excited, but I said that wrong. An order of magnitude. Yeah, I didn't have to put a number to it. That was my problem. More excited for this film than the Disney one that looks pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman, of course, coming back because him and Guillermo are tight like that.
Don't you just want a hug from Ron Perlman?
I feel like he'd make me feel safe and a little risque,
like a little threatened, right? Just a little bit. He'd hug you too tight, like it wouldn't hurt, but you know, like if he wanted to, he could make the hug hurt.
And maybe that's what excites me about it.
It's a little bit of danger, a little bit of the pearl.
Hey, remember that show that was completely non-controversial and loved from start to finish and had a great ending? I'm, of course, talking about Game of Thrones.
Right.
We've talked about the sequel show, I already fucking forgot what it's called. Something
House
Fire.
of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. Fire, close enough. There is going to be a Jon Snow sequel series.
Snow.
It's in development at HBO right now. This also comes from the Hollywood Reporter. Kit Harington is attached to reprise Jon Snow. The most interesting part to me is that it's a sequel series to the events of Game of Thrones. That in and of itself makes me more excited than I normally would be. Mm-hmm. Here's why. I didn't like the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. I think most people would agree with that. Yeah. But this puts them away from George R.R. Martin's writing and allows them to tell their own story at their own pace without following George's books for several seasons while he promises to finish the book series and never does. And then they have to cobble together the final 2 seasons into a fucking monster that didn't work out very well. So I mean, I like Kit Harington. He's charming enough. Jon Snow was an alright character. I always enjoyed that he was built up as if he was going to take the throne and then didn't. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of an interesting angle to me. So sure, I'll watch it. I pay for HBO Max. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be on there.
It's hard to feel optimistic about it. Because
it's true.
It was flubbed so just terrifically, just in the worst way. It's weird to me that they're calling it like a Jon Snow spinoff, because Jon Snow was really the central character of, I mean, I know there's a lot of characters, but he was really at the core of everything that was happening throughout the show. So it's almost like, are you just doing like season 9 or, I mean, I don't know. But it's like, you know.
Hey, look, it's the Jon Snow sequel series with Daenerys and Sansa.
And they're all still there. Same.
Yeah, the mountain's back somehow. I think he died, but he's still here.
It makes me wonder, like, did somebody have a really good idea to retcon how poorly they ended, the core show? And that could be a little bit exciting. The biggest shame with Game of Thrones, we were just talking about this at work today, is that the first 4 seasons, now I'm not saying like seasons 5 and 6 were still good, but not up to the quality of the first 4. And then season 7 is where it really started to take a nosedive, but it even had like good points in it. And then just the last, oh my God, it was so terrible. The biggest shame is, like, I rewatched it with Veronica after it was all done because she had never seen it. And, like, right up to season 4, I was like, dude, this could have been the best, like uncontested show, just greatest show ever made for fucking generations to come if they just stayed consistent with this tone and didn't make characters start doing all this stupid shit that they would have never done in the first 4 seasons. Yep. That's the biggest shame. So, like, any chance to, like, redeem that, I'll check it out. I can't promise. Like, House of the Dragon looks awful. Like, it looks like they're phoning that one in, and so maybe they will be for this as well.
Remember the crazy blondes, the crazy incest blondes?
Yeah.
You want a whole show about them?
They were still fucking each other 200 years ago. Still doing
it. Want to see that? Want to see some titties? Some dragons? Some dragoons?
No. It's not even cautious optimism. It's cautious curiosity.
Just caution.
Yeah, it's just caution.
That's fair. Yeah. Just a caution sign. That should just be the emblem, like for the shit when they release like the crest for the show to just be a big caution sign.
Yeah,
maybe that's the
Kit Harington thumbnail. Come out like out of character in the beginning, like, "Hi, Kit Harington here." Sorry.
No. Maybe I could Photoshop him in normal clothes that looks like he's talking. Maybe like a Shia LaBeouf inspiration. Right. Shia LaBeouf, and it's in front of one of those old classic like mesothelioma backgrounds where there's like a whole bunch of warning writing behind him. I have to write that down because that's a contender.
That's pretty good.
What if the entire show was just like it starts off and the first thing that happens is Bran dies?
That would be great already.
Episode 2 is that his will said like Jon Snow must take up the throne. Like they just completely retconned the end of Game of Thrones. I know you said that, but then my brain went, "Oh, let's kill Bran off real quick."
Well, it could get so much worse, right? Because he was exiled at the end of the show, so it could just be like him being a wildling. Like, today, I think I'll go hunt some elk. Oh, not as many elk as I thought out there today, so we're gonna go a little hungry, and it's just like boring wildling shit. I would almost respect that more if they were like, yeah, we're going to make it shittier and you're going to watch it anyway.
You're going to watch it. We're not even going to make you, but you're going to watch it. Because we said the words Jon Snow and they magically summon people. Well, there was that fucking meme of him and this girl. What was her name? Ingrid or something?
Egret.
That was close. Where it's like, oh, there's going to be 8 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because they're fucking, you get it?
Right.
They were. Right. And then she got murked, right? She died?
Yeah, she got shot in the chest or something with a gun.
Yeah, speaking of committing crimes, Ezra Miller
segues.
Thank you. As in spiraling. And that's not like an exaggeration. It's not I'm not buffing the story up to make it more interesting or bad for him than it already is. He is in spiraling legal trouble. We've talked here and there about this. We've talked about his assault on somebody in Hawaii. We've talked about his assault on somebody, I don't know, fucking California, Norway or some fucking European country. I don't know. I think he's playing Carmen Sandiego, but he's just he's just throwing a punch and getting back on the plane, and then he crosses it off the mat. It's like Animaniacs, except for it's for beating people up.
Can you imagine being like the fucking driver with the sign, like Mr. Miller, and he just shows up and just socks you in the fucking eye and gets back on his private jet?
There's a thumbnail. Iceland. There's a thumbnail on there somewhere too, but I'm not sure what it would be. So he's in trouble.
Yeah, and that's shit. God damn it.
It makes me sad because I liked him on film.
Yeah,
I can't say I liked him because I apparently didn't know him because also apparently he's crazy. Mm-hmm. He's posted some really wild shit recently. He's said some pretty terrible things to people. Yeah. There was a story about him grooming a minor.
Yeah.
Which I'm not entirely sure I understand what that means. But it just sounds really bad regardless of what it means. Does it mean like grooming a minor to have sexual relations with them? Or?
So yeah, it's the same thing that they were saying with Drake with Millie Bobby Brown is like you essentially it's okay, so it's illegal when you're an adult to, have sex with someone, a minor, to diddle children, to be a toucher.
Don't get the wig out.
But it's weirdly like not illegal to like sort of manipulate them into wanting to have sex with you once they're of legal age. Yeah. There's so like that's kind of that's generally how that's
talk about the grossest gray line of all time. Fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Of all the like legal gray areas to explore and have fun in, like that's what you choose, really?
Yeah,
is that it?
That's weird. Yeah.
You don't want to just jaywalk, run a red light every now and then? It gets me high, dude. Oh my god, I get hard when nobody's around and I run a red light. Yeah.
Go do a drug that's like legalized in the state, but you're carrying too much of it. Like one of those gray areas. Go do that.
If they see me smoking this, I'm okay. If they look in the trunk, I'm going to jail for a long time.
Exactly. Those are the gray lines you should be skirting.
Yeah. Don't be a toucher, even if it's a future toucher.
Yeah.
Don't plan to touch.
It's like me saying, I'm not going to today. But in 3 to 5 years, I will get addicted and die from heroin. Like, what?
I'm just getting a stockpile now. I just want to have it for when I inevitably plan to do that.
Yeah, I'm hiding it in the walls now so that even when my friends and family think they're staging an intervention, I have a stash left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm staging it as like home repairs. So you know.
And all you have to do is like agree with everything they say. So then they leave and then all your heroin's in your walls.
And then you punch a hole in the wall with your crazy heroin powers and you take it and you go to town.
Yeah. You should do more
OD,
heroin.
baby. Sorry.
Anyway, Ezra Miller's a piece of shit. My God. Jesus. Can you imagine hanging out with him? I think I did that bit before.
Not anymore.
But Jesus Christ.
I mean, there's just been a string. We're not going to go through each one of them, but there's been a string of just assault charges and him being like a fucking dickhead to parents and kids and the grooming charge and the general consensus around town right now is that he will not work with Warner Brothers ever again, but that they will still be releasing the Flash film because the movie is not even like still in like shooting, like it's in post, it's coming out, like it's completely locked as far as shooting, I imagine. So anything they did, including scrapping or reshooting, would be a tremendous cost to Warner Brothers. And what they'll likely do is kill the marketing budget for this, or at least market Keaton and try to minimize showing Ezra. Yeah. Let the movie come out, and then you'll never see him again.
Yeah,
he's done.
That's what I was thinking too. There's no way, just the cost. Like they'll put a disclaimer at the beginning. It's funny how like when like streaming services first started doing it, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, what was it? 13 Reasons Why or whatever had a scene of like teen suicide, so they put a disclaimer in the beginning, and it's like, all right, if you don't want to see that kind of stuff, don't watch this. Of course, Stranger Things season 4 aired like 4 days after the Texas shooting. So, and there were like imagery of dead kids, so they put a little thing at the beginning. But it's funny, like, that's just becoming the new norm for, like, all right, well, we put a disclaimer, so it's on you from here on.
Yeah. There's a diddler in this movie. Watch out.
Yeah, we left the toucher in. We fired him, though, but here's the movie, though, because we don't want to go through the expense of replacing him.
Here's Todd. He's still touching, but
anyway, we condemn that. No, Todd.
I said I wasn't going to read any of these charges. I'm just going to read one, just because the current. So I keep forgetting this crazy fact, but he's like on the run right now.
Yeah. He cannot be found. He's a fugitive.
Yeah. So 2 orders of protection have been granted, one for 12-year-old in Massachusetts and one for Gibson Iron Eyes, an 18-year-old Standing Rock activist who's the one allegedly groomed by Miller.
Yeah. According
to parents Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah, authorities have been unable to locate Miller. In order to serve these orders, Gibson is believed to be traveling with him. Miller notably deleted his Instagram account earlier this week after posting a cryptic photo and a message that appeared to taunt police. I couldn't make this shit up. It's getting like wilder and wilder.
Dude, you can't give kids money. You can't give kids that much money.
No.
This is what happens every fucking time.
I really hope, and I'm going to make a joke about it, but I want you to know it's in the interest of comedy and comedy alone. Okay. I'm going to say this. I'm going to preface my statement with, I really hope, and I mean this with my entire heart, that they find Gibson Iron Eyes and that I don't know if it's a male or female or they or them. I hope that they are safe and totally fine. Mm-hmm. But we had a podcast title that accurately reflects the way this might end. And that podcast title is Murder Sue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's not really a funny joke. I'm sorry.
That was an excellent joke. It's beautiful.
I just felt really bad. I'm just saying, Miller's in the deranged state that honestly, if I saw that, it would be a fucking tragedy. But I also wouldn't be that surprised at this point. Yeah. Like when we first heard about him having trouble, it was for him choking somebody, if you recall. And now we're getting grooming.
Now he has a person on the run.
And he's fucking assaulting people. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive. That was a poor taste joke. I apologize. But I mean, look, I hope she gets home safe. I really do. She, I actually don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's she.
Yeah. Okay.
When I read that her name was Iron Eyes, I was like, who the fuck names their kid Iron Eyes? Come on. And then
I assume they're Native American.
They're Native American. I felt really bad.
I was going to say,
I didn't have to admit that out loud, but I did.
Oh, okay.
I felt bad about it. That was part of it too. But
well, you should.
It was like her mother, Standing Hill Rock. I was like, oh, okay.
It's actually Sarah Jumping Eagle.
Sorry. See, now I'm an asshole again, all over again.
And Chase Iron Eyes.
I've been irredeemed.
All right, moving on. Ezra Miller's crazy. He probably will disappear after The Flash, which sucks because if the movie's good, like I keep hearing whispers that the test audience were extremely positive on it.
Yeah.
That's just a bummer. It's a bummer for the film franchise. But I hope that guy rots in fucking prison whenever he gets caught. You giant piece of shit.
I
wouldn't care if this was somebody. 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like I'd break my fist on his chisel jaw though. Yeah. I wouldn't care if this was a Batman actor.
He could kick my ass. He has a lot of practice. He's really throwing swings at people all the time.
He's also quick to run away if you were to chase him.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'm sorry. Let's move on to talk about another guy, Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie. So in the long string of live action adaptations that Disney's really trying to make happen. I feel like it's the whole thing is a running Mean Girls meme. Like, stop trying to make Hercules happen. It's not going to happen. Guy Ritchie, now that I spoiled my story, is reteaming with Disney to direct a live-action Hercules. First off, that movie is wonderful. Danny DeVito as the fucking
the original.
Man.
I thought you meant the Aladdin movie he did. It was like, whoa.
Meg had just enough gripping sarcasm and that I was like, I have a confused boner at this age. She's a cartoon. I shouldn't feel that way. Thank you, Rule 34 I'm just kidding. But yeah, that was a great movie. And it came with this weird period. I watched it for
the first time like a year ago.
Seriously?
Yeah. And it was excellent. Like, so
it's excellent.
So nostalgia has nothing to do with it because I saw it when I was like 32 years old and it was fucking incredible.
And I thought it was incredible.
It was really good.
To me, that was like one of the, I don't know what to call it. Like I grew up and there was the Jungle Book and Little Mermaid and Pinocchio and the classic Disney films, of which Jungle Book is still my favorite. Yeah. And I'm happy to report Grayson has found Hook.
Okay.
And the original Jungle. We just watched Jungle Book, and he was having a blast. They're singing Bare Necessities. He was just sitting like this, chilling. He was hanging, and I was like, I can't love you anymore, but now I do.
I won't. I'll stop right here. This is as much as I'm going to do it.
But this felt like it came out in like the new wave of Disney films. Like I'm growing up, and this came out when I was a young kid, and I was like, this is absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful film. The songs are great.
Yeah.
Movie tells a great lesson. Who voices Hades?
That would be Tom Woods.
Oh, that's 100% him. Yeah. He seems like the kind of guy who's a great voice actor, but I don't want to know his political opinions because he's probably. Am I right?
They're pretty bad. Yeah.
Okay. Well, called it. I don't know, dude. Aladdin was a piece of shit flop. Pinocchio looks weird and bad.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. We don't need to beat a dead horse here.
Well, Guy Ritchie's incredible, though. That's the thing. So when I initially read this, I thought like, Hercules, great. Again, just saw it like a year ago. Guy Ritchie, excellent director. He did Snatch. Every time I go to list off his movies, I've seen like 9 out of 10 of them.
He also made that Aladdin movie.
But he also did Aladdin. That's the issue. So the one that I initially attached to was he recently made a King Arthur movie that was incredible that just flopped. So it just, they never made it anymore. He has just an interesting way of filmmaking and editing. But anyway, then I remembered he did Aladdin. So I'm like, now I have a lot less faith in this. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's like the closest analog to, maybe he's learned from his mistakes.
Well, there was really no mistake. That movie made $1 billion, Aladdin, which is fucking insane to me.
So that means he had a bunch of people patting him on the back about it, and
he's like, "I'm going to get worse.
The same thing.
I'll heal in hell."
Yeah, let me use Danny DeVito's actual face for this little goat man, and that'll probably work out well, right? Yeah, I loved this movie. I think it's really fun.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I hope it's way better. The music in Hercules is like soul and gospel influenced, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. You know what? A movie I don't like that everybody loves. I'm not trying to sound like
which one?
That guy.
No, do it.
Emperor's New Groove. I cannot fucking get into that movie.
Oh, I like that movie.
I love David Spade. Like it's not like I just can't.
Well, I don't love David Spade, but I do love that movie.
Really? You don't? Like not even in the old stuff like Tommy Boy?
So here's the thing. Oh, well, of course. Tommy Boy and fucking
his sarcasm is like god tier in those movies. Black Sheep.
Thank you. I was like, they're the same movie. I don't.
They're the exact same movie. Yeah.
I love them both too. They meld together in my head like one big film. There's a cabin in the woods scene. I don't know which of those two movies it's from.
Yeah.
In a way. Let's move on. Let's move on to talk about maybe bad ideas. I put this in here because there's a right way and a wrong way. And I'm a white guy, so I couldn't tell you the right way, but I can definitely tell you this was the wrong way to write black characters in comic books. And they're trying to do this. Marvel was trying to do this mashup thing where basically it's what happens if Miles Morales became Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taking a shit and I saw this article and I started reading through it and I was like, what? And then I read some more and I went, oh no. And then I went, I'm putting that in the doc because that'll be interesting to talk about for a minute. This episode, what if Miles Morales became Thor? It's number 4. very strong backlash from social media when this issue came online. The choices in this book have been called
from like who?
Everybody.
So white supremacists and not white supremacists.
Oh no, I don't think white supremacists are reading this book, so I don't think they really care.
Well, I'm just saying, anytime a black character like takes on the role of a usually white character, like, oh, what the hell?
I didn't hear that. It's actually the opposite. It's that the way in which this is handled is incredibly insensitive towards black culture. Mm-hmm. I mean, even to the character of Miles himself, it's like blaxploitation almost. Mm-hmm. Here we go. I'll read you some fun accolades.
Let's have some fun.
In What If Miles Morales became Thor? Miles, here called Thor, surprise, lives in a hybrid world of Asgard and Brooklyn. Graffiti adorns buildings, shoes hang on power lines, cars are pulled by goats. The criticisms by fans point out, and I'm reading this 100% from a ScreenRant.com article. Thanks for the sponsor this week, Screen Rant. We really appreciate it. The criticisms by fans point out that this aesthetic immediately, pointing out the stereotypical environment and Miles' narration, and this is a line from the books, of all the 5 realms, Asgard is his hood. Shoes hanging on power lines in particular was a confusing part of this new version, as shoes thrown onto power lines often belong to someone who's died. Here, however, they are used as decoration. They have him in sneakers and carrying a version of Mjolnir covered in graffiti. And then after the weapon is summoned, he shouts, "Hammer time." These stereotypical elements and misinformed depictions of Miles' neighborhood have led fans to liken the issue to minstrelsy, which is not good. Blaxploitation minstrelsy is basically, making a caricature of a black person, black culture. To add insult to injury, this Thor doesn't possess the typical loquacious Asgardian vocabulary. Instead, he speaks as 616 Miles with an exaggerated stereotypical slang. Yeah, it's just bad. They're calling it like a comic book version of a blaxploitation film.
Who made it? Like, was it a black guy that made it, or a black woman that made it?
It is worth noting, although Miles was created by a white writer, Brian Michael Bendis, this issue of the series is the only one not written by a black writer. The only one. You're the only one. Why did you do this? Oh, yeah.
Some white guy was like, yeah, I think I understand them well enough.
Guys, I got this. Let me just take the Miles being Thor issue.
Holy shit.
And he is the only one. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. Look, yeah, there's a line somewhere that someone drew that this guy should have realized he was literally tripping over and face planting onto the other side.
Well, that's why it's always been, it's not even like, it's not, I don't know. To me, it's not like a, and we're going to get into this later with Miss Marvel. It's not even like a woke thing or like a try hard thing. But if you're going to write a story about a culture, get people from the fucking culture to write the story. Like, why would you outsource that to somebody who doesn't understand that? I don't know. It's just a bizarre choice.
Yeah. And to be clear, you mean the way Miss Marvel does do that, because they did bring in Muslim writers.
Muslim writers.
Yeah. Okay. Just make sure. Yeah. I might not like that show, but they do capture that culture, I think, respectfully.
Yeah.
We'll get there later. Like he said, we got stuff to talk about. Anyway, we're on to the trailers. I never shilled, so we'll just do it now. Facebook.com/The Cynical Nerd, Twitter and TikTok @The Cynical Nerd. Still working on the Instagram. My man never got back to me about it. Maybe he
died.
Doesn't want to.
Maybe he died. Leave it at that. Maybe
I was going to say doesn't want to part ways with the account, but maybe he doesn't want to.
He had 4 kids. Maybe they all went to orphanages, and that sucks.
Maybe he had to part ways with his life.
One was named Derek and Chris too.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Weird tribute. I'm honored, but I won't take the kid in because I have my own family to worry about.
No. We'll take the handle still if the kid can get on the computer and give that to us.
Is he old enough? Do you think?
Could be. Who knows?
It could be.
We'll tell them that we'll adopt them if they give us the handle.
Yeah.
And then when they give it to us, we'll just change our phone number.
And then the sequel will be they grow up vengeful and come back to try and kill Derek and I when we're grown. But I'll be
except Derek thinks I'm Chris and Chris thinks you're. You get it. It's
right.
Freaky Friday type thing.
We'll both be at peace in our lives because our kids will be grown out of the house, and I'll accept death with open arms and acknowledge my mistakes.
Yeah.
Except for not adopting you guys was still the best choice of my life.
It'll be real like Gran Turismo, except just not with all the racist stuff. We'll keep that out.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Trailers. That was enough shilling. We have no emails this week. If you want to email us, questions@thecynicalnerd.com. Comments, questions, whatever you got on Twitter, #AskTCN does exactly what you think it is. There's also #FuckTCN if we did something wrong or you want to do a correction. And then Ron made her own hashtag this week, which was KissTCN, and I assume that was towards you.
KissTCN.
I want her to know that she made me 50% uncomfortable with that. Because
she might want to kiss you. She might. I don't know. We'll see. Big old sloppy one on the cheek.
I mean, I'd want to kiss me.
My dog is going to start howling, so just get ready for that.
I love it. It's into the fire alarm interlude.
Yes. Take us away,
Ein. Next section. This is how we do the trailer alert. Anyway, Kung Fu Panda. Really? Still talking about Kung Fu Panda in 2022? Well, because that franchise still makes money, they keep milking it.
Mm-hmm.
Mommy milking it. Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight is coming out on Netflix. This is actually going to be a series, if I'm not mistaken, about Kung Fu Panda. I got to admit, I included this. It's not really something we would typically put in our wheelhouse. I did this because they're like a guilty pleasure of mine.
Me too, 100%. I love those movies.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure it wasn't me. I don't know what it is, but like, they're just charming and they're fun, and I'm about it.
I'm about to go on a weird rant. I'm going to tell you why I like these movies.
I'm ready for it. Go ahead.
And I'm going to keep it brief because I know we got stuff to get through.
Weird me up.
Here's my issue with kids movies. Now, I'm about to sound like a boomer. Here's my issue with kids movies nowadays. When we were kids, kids movies always had a showdown. There's always like just like adult movies do, except it's a kids movie. There's like my ideal versus your ideal, Simba versus Scar.
Right.
Aladdin versus Jafar, so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. That rhymed, unintentional. Look at that. Check that shit out. Now kids movies are very like, we just have to learn to accept each other and then everybody wins. And I'm like, fuck that shit. I want to see the end tag and the pro tag beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
so
for real.
Kung Fu Panda, it takes both of those ideologies and melds them into one thing. He finds the strength to overcome the adversary by learning to accept himself or learning to lean on the power of his friends or learn whatever. It's like the same. It's like current day sort of kids movies ideology with what I grew up with.
But he also whoops that ass.
That's what I'm saying. He kicks ass. He does some cool moves.
And he's a big fat guy who's good at kicking ass, which is not
makes me feel
the norm. Right.
Makes me feel like maybe I can do it.
And I know he says typical silly, corny Jack Black things like skadoosh.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's charming to me. Fight me. Yeah, it is. So it is an epic new series. This is, I think, coming out July 14th. It comes out very soon. I'm going to check it out when it comes out. I'm not promising we're going to talk about it, but I'm going to watch it because I fucking like Kung Fu Panda. And I want to see some more of Tigress because she's a BA.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no way they have Angelina Jolie back, right? Oh no, she's back.
Oh wow.
Wait, sorry, hang on. That was a promo for the original movie because they're trying to make money from me however they can. I don't see
that is
voice
a
cast here.
High-ticket actor. I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not for an animated show. It's probably just Jack Black, to be honest. It's probably him by himself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think the voice actor for his father was the same in the trailer. He's in there for like a minute and it didn't sound like him, or at least not 100%. Anyway, Kung Fu Panda Dragon Knight sounds cool. Cool name also.
Yeah.
The next thing is a gameplay trailer. I put this in here for one reason and one reason only. It's because we just talked about reveal of it last week. It's called Evil West. And then they put the gameplay. And I got to say, I think you said, a gun.
Bulletstorm.
Bulletstorm. I was like, Gunfire Storm. Anyway, you said it reminded you of Bulletstorm, and the gameplay 100% reminds me of Bulletstorm.
Yeah, the same like over the top, just ludicrousness of it.
Yeah, ludicrous, if you will. That's how you pronounce it from where I'm from.
If you took any still, like any like just like a still from any trailer, I would be like, this looks like the stupidest fucking game in the world. This looks like it was made for teenagers. It may very well still have been made for teenagers, but once you see it in motion and all these mechanics and all these different ways, like you can like, you know, bring enemies over to you like in a Mortal Kombat style, and then like throw them into a bomb that explodes and kills all the zombies that are near that, and then electrifies certain enemies to do a chain attack. It's like, this just looks fun. This looks like stupid, cheap Michael Bay fun, and I am 100% all about it.
Yeah, in the middle of this gameplay trailer, there's this huge boss arena with a bunch of bodies on the ground, and the creature looks ridiculously stupid.
Yeah,
and he's launching lightning chains around people, and it looks like a charge shot almost. Like he holds it, and then a reticle comes up. And there's like ability wheels, and it looks kind of like stupid fun. If this has even like mediocre to mostly positive reviews, I'm in.
Yeah, same. Mm-hmm.
It looks like it could be just a good time, and as long as there was nothing in this trailer that made me go, maybe not. It just looks silly.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of varied environments. For some reason, it reminds me of I don't think it's gonna play like it, but Remnant.
Never played that.
Yeah, it was a good game.
Reminds me of a cross between Bulletstorm and Darksiders. That's what the like aesthetic.
Oh, Darksiders. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what it's doing for you. I just saw another ridiculously silly weapon. It was like gooed him up, and then he flamethrowered him. Anyway, looks fun. Check it out if you want to.
If y'all want to.
If you want to. It's coming out from. I'm impressed at the efficiency of that phrase. If you want to is compressed into yont to.
Yont to. It's like Jeet yet.
Jeet.
Jeet yet? Yont to.
Yont to. Anyway, moving on. This one has Derek talk about me written all over it. They did an official reveal trailer for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which is the Final Fantasy VII remake part 2. They did reveal there's going to be 3 games total, which just feels excessive.
Yeah.
Because wasn't the first one not that long of a game?
No,
I don't know. I didn't. Oh, okay. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, and then I would like you to expound upon this.
Please.
The story did not mirror the original game.
No.
1-to-1. They have made significant deviations.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like they may continue to do so in this one.
Yeah, so the main story beats were there, like the setting and like the characters' drives and, you know, the way that they intermingle with one another, all that stuff is still there. The soul of the game is still there, but like the different circumstances, the things that happen, they kind of like, the first one took place, it's about a 30 to 40 hour long game.
Okay, and that's not bad.
What's covered in that entire time is probably the first 10 hours of the original game. So they really took that first 10 hours and stretched it out. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes you got like a deeper dive on certain parts that you sort of just flew by in the original. Most of the time, the extra stuff that they added in was like, okay, I'm ready for the next part. It's a deeply flawed game that has an excellent combat system. I don't give a shit what anybody says. You can talk shit on the story because it does get bad towards the end. You can talk shit on the corny anime characters. I go into any JRPG expecting that. I'm not making excuses. I get why a lot of people find them insufferable, but I just expect it going into it. You can talk shit on that. The gameplay mechanics are incredible in that game. So the major changes, I'm assuming the original that came out 25 years ago, you're never going to play. You should. I would recommend it. It's just one of the greats. But
wait, are you talking to me?
I am talking to you.
Oh, I played it.
You played Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, I literally borrowed my brother-in-law's PlayStation to do it because I only had a 64 at the time.
I never knew that.
Shut up, Bob.
Anyway, so basically, the biggest deviation that they're doing is Zack, who is a huge linchpin character who is not a main character. You don't play as him. You don't nothing in the original. He actually dies before the game even begins. In this new one, did not die. He's alive. So that was the big reveal at the end. that kind of confirmed throughout the game. They're sort of hinting that this is like an alternate timeline. And then like in the final scene, you see that Zack is still alive, which sort of solidifies that. So initially, I was not all about that. And now I'm kind of like, well, the original game still exists. And I do like the original game better still.
Right.
But just because they're changing stuff around, it lets me re-experience this story. So I'm not opposed to it. It seems like what they're doing with Rebirth is focusing on Cloud's first flashback, which is when he lies about everything, not intentionally. He is exposed to this extremely volatile chemical, and he watches Zack die to save his life, and he sort of like imprints Zack's memories onto himself and sort of confuses himself with Zack. Anyway, so I'm not going to explain the entire plot of Final Fantasy VII. I'm excited to see what they do with that. That was kind of the coolest part about the original for me as a kid, was the big hook in finding out that the story that Cloud was telling about his past the entire time were not his memories, they were Zack's, and that he was actually this other, side character the entire time. What they do with it could be interesting. It could be awful, but whatever. What I'm more excited about, which is weird because it was sort of a tacked on thing, is they also announced that they're remaking Crisis Core, which is a story about Zack, like his life before he meets Cloud and up until he dies.
Right.
So it's the same gameplay, same everything. They're just ramping up the graphics, FPS, the whole nine. Always wanted to play that game. It was only on PSP. I never owned a PSP, so I never played it, and now I get to. So I'm psyched.
And it comes out this winter.
Yeah.
For Crisis Core.
And then Rebirth, I think, is next year.
Yeah. And then I think they rename the first part of the remake. It's called something Intergrade. Yeah.
Which is now on Steam, and I might get it. I already played it on PlayStation. Now, so Intergrade includes like a side story with Yuffie, who was not in the base game. So I never played that. So I don't know. If it's on like an incredible sale, I'll get it and play it on Steam. But no, I look forward to it. It's one of those games. It's like almost in Death Stranding territory where like I liked it, but I feel weird suggesting it to people because I know that it's a flawed game. But personally, I had a good time with it, and I'm sure I'll have a good time with the second one.
That's good. Okay. Now we have a weird one.
Hit me with it.
System Shock. So System Shock was announced. I did not know that this was a game already. This is a remake of a very old game that came out in like 1994, I think. I looked up the original to look up gameplay. I mean, because this is like from the ground up. It's just a brand new thing. But it's based off of that old game. It's a cyberpunk-ish first-person action adventure game. I mean, obviously, they remade the entire game, updated controls, overhauled user interface. It looks like...
Is it a remake? Like a...
Oh, yeah. Complete.
I didn't know if it was like another game in that universe or they remade the first one.
I believe they remade the first one.
Okay.
This is coming to PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, all the consoles. It's actually coming to previous gen too. It's still going to come out on PS4 and Xbox One. But it looks interesting. I don't... It's hard to quantify this because it looks like Blade Runner the game sometimes here. Sometimes it looks more like a futuristic Doom. There's some cool weapons in here. Definitely some body mod stuff going on. There's some like cybernetic like monsters in here.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on, but it looks interesting enough that I'm probably gonna check it out as long as it's not like a $70 fucking game or something. There's a couple cool things here that are nods to its original game. There's like a little wall puzzle somewhere that was very digitized. It looks like it came straight out of like a Sega Genesis or something. Yeah, I don't know. Looks cool. I like first person action adventure games. So
it does look cool. And it's System Shock is one of those games that came out way before I was into PC gaming. Just like way before.
Right.
And it's one of those games that inspired a lot of other games. Like I think that BioShock is like System Shock is like credited for a lot of what made BioShock good.
They even still have the name.
Yeah. Shock. Yeah, I don't know. You kind of covered it all. It looks good. It looks fun. It's very vibrant, the color scheme. It just has a different feel to it. So yeah, I'm into it. I've always heard people talking about it, but it's one of those games I get, like, I'll read a thread about it and I go, let me look this game up. Let me look into it. And then I see the graphics and I go, ooh,
woof.
Can't do it. So
yeah,
re-experience it. Well, first time experience it for me.
Friendly reminder, nothing to do with anything we're talking about today. Stranger Things season 4, the second volume with the last remaining episodes is next Friday.
Yep.
Not this Friday, but the
sorry
one
for that yawn.
after. That's okay. I thought I muted myself earlier when I coughed and I didn't, so I apologize for coughing right into your fucking ear hole. All right, so that's it. We're going to talk about TMNT, and then we're going to talk about our main topics.
Let's do it.
And then we're going to go to bed.
Yeah. I'm very tired.
I'm gonna, yeah. All right, so TMNT Shredder's Revenge came out. Was it everything they promised? Was it amazing? The answer to all that and more when we return. And we're back. It was great. I loved it. Thanks.
What a weird bit. I really liked that.
Yeah, I don't even know where it came from. Yeah, the game came out. We, me, you, our good buddy Jello File. Thanks for the sponsor this week, Jello.
Yeah, thanks, Jill.
It's JELLO File PHILE. He's on Twitch. You can find him. He streams mostly retro stuff.
Yeah.
He was Donatello. You were Michelangelo. I was Leonardo. And Nick Benson, who I don't know why I gave his full name. You can look him up. Has that.
Here's his address too.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Also streams on Twitch. Long John Silver. I'm not spelling that one. Just you have to figure it out.
Yeah. It's tough. There's underscores in there too, and I don't know where they are.
Find one of us on Twitch, and then you'll see him somewhere. I'm sure. That's how that works. We all played together. He was Raph, and it was a blast. The campaign took us like 4 hours. I think it was like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, not long.
Start to finish. We did a lot of the side quests, but missed a lot of the challenges, and just a really fun time. Just my quick impression. Obviously, it's extremely, extremely heavily inspired by Turtles in Time on the NES. But they've done enough new with the combat to where it's like, oh, I remember this fun beat 'em up style. And then you're like, what? I get a special move. And then they surprise you because not only do you get special moves, but your turtles level up. Yeah. And as they do, they get different special moves. You'll get like a special move in the air, and you'll get a special move dashing forward. And the combat is a lot more intricate than if you were to go back and play Turtles in Time, and the combat is one button.
It was surprisingly more complex than I would have imagined. Like, it wasn't. Did my camera just freeze again?
Oh no, it did.
Yeah, it
just
totally
once though.
did.
That's the only time.
All right, well, let me fix that.
Why don't you fix that?
God
boop,
damn,
boop.
What is doing that?
That's weird.
This is going to be a great little mid section here on the. Here we go.
There we go.
Oof, jeez.
And now you're back.
I know I'm really bright too. Anyway, surprisingly more complex than I thought. Yeah. Which isn't to say that it was complex. I just imagined it was just like a button masher type thing, and then I don't know, it just had a little bit more to it. The music and just like atmosphere and
choice.
I've never seen, not never. It's rare that you see a game, like a trailer for a game, that like what you expect from that trailer, what they show you in that trailer is exactly what you get out of the game. But this was one of those. Like it's if you watch that trailer and you thought like, oh, this looks like it might be good, it's for you. It's a game that you'll enjoy.
Yeah.
The music is so
good.
so fucking choice, dude.
Oh yeah. The game was a blast. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it, to be completely frank. I mean, it was a really fun time. The last boss fight was super well designed. I mean, a lot of the boss fights are well designed, but a lot of them with 5-6 people, you just stomp them.
Yeah.
We had a couple random stream friends jump in while we played to take the role of Splinter and Casey Jones. Shout out to my buddy Fat D. You probably know him as Paul Flart on the internet. The security guard made himself notorious on the internet for farting and being fired from his job for it. If you don't know who he is, go look because he's a good guy. He's funny. Anyway,
and we are going to do a little TCN YouTube where we're playing the hardest difficulty as April and Casey Jones. But I feel like we shouldn't figure out who's who until that day. I feel like it's better if we don't play in that
on camera too. We have to figure that out.
100%.
100. All right. Cool. Moving on to our main topics. I always do this to you. What order do you think works best here?
So, I actually kind of like the order that they're in. I feel like Obi-Wan Boys, Mrs. Marvel, Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is good.
I'm cool with that. Obi-Wan penultimate episode came out last week. But I'll keep this kind of short and sweet. I think it was the best episode of the show so far.
Yeah.
It had a great plot. This felt like the first episode that kind of embraced episodic material for the show, insofar as it opened with this wonderful flashback to the Clone Wars era. This flashback must have taken place right before Attack of the Clones, because Anakin still has both of his arms, both of his hands. He's still a Padawan, and he's doing like a training sparring match with Obi-Wan. It's a great throwback. It felt really good. It was on Coruscant. And that frames the entire episode. It was a great plot device. There's this lesson that Obi-Wan teaches Anakin throughout their duel, and this lesson is kind of, retold in the modern day with what's going on. They're on a planet. They get back from rescuing Leia. Remember, her drone has a restraining bolt put on it. Sorry, I couldn't think of the fucking word. The tiniest, cutest restraining bolt I've ever seen. And they're trying to escape. They have a bunch of refugees, and Obi-Wan realizes that he can't not help these people. It's, as the Grand Inquisitor said in the first episode, it's an itch that they must scratch as Jedi. So he's helping them to escape. Meanwhile, they track them. They show up. Rev is there. Couple revelations in this episode. One, we were right, which doesn't surprise me. She was one of the young Padawans.
Yeah.
In the first episode. The other thing is that she is not cool with Vader. She has done everything she's done in her life up until this point to try and get revenge for what he did to her and her family, her Jedi. The problem is, because of the way she's done it and the fact that she'll go to any depths, she's still become a Sith. Well, not a Sith, but she's still become a dark side user. She refuses Obi-Wan's help to try and take him down together. She can only see. She's blinded by her own revenge, and that ultimately is what makes her fail in this episode. And I thought that, the whole, she wants to take down Vader, but they didn't just take the stupid cheesy route of making her a good guy to do it.
Yeah.
Was cool. It, it was the first, character development with her that I actually liked.
I agree.
Ewan McGregor continues to crush it as Obi-Wan. And, I'll let you interject because I've been talking. There's more stuff to talk about, but how'd you feel about it?
I haven't liked Reva this entire show until this episode. She was really good. There was the only thing that really didn't sit right with me. I only have sort of two criticisms. One is that didn't Obi-Wan kind of use her as bait? Didn't it feel like he was like, stay back and fight him so I can get out of here? This is very not on brand for Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
But you're right. It tied into that fight that he was having with Anakin, where for the whole episode, they're sort of going back to a minute or so of this fight. And Anakin is kind of beating the shit out of Obi-Wan, which to us, the viewer, is weird. And basically in the end, Obi-Wan takes advantage of his anger and whatever. And he's like, oh, you're too focused on winning to whatever the lesson was. You're too focused on attacking. Rather than defending, essentially. And
your
so
focus on victory blinds you or something like that,
right,
basically.
Right. And so he knows that if he pits Reva against him, she'll basically get this opening because he'll be so focused on him and wanting to kill him that she'll get, this chance, which of course she ultimately failed. But Obi-Wan succeeded because he got out of there.
Yeah.
That fight between Reva and Vader was fucking incredible.
Oh, dude.
When she's swinging the lightsaber and he's just blocking it with the Force time and time again. He's I don't think he was like Neo at the end of the first Matrix. It was incredible. My only other main criticism, it's not about this episode in particular, and I think I might have said this about the show on the show before, so I'm not going to harp on it too long.
The show.
I feel like this would have been a better movie, and I think that you said it was initially supposed to be, and then they switched that because of the failure of Solo, or less than
how
desired.
it goes.
Yeah.
How the story goes.
But in any event, like I definitely think it would have worked as like a 2.5 hour long thing rather than just and now that I'm saying this, I know that we covered this last week, so I'll just end it there. But in any event, I agree. Best episode so far.
Holy shit, dude! We got fucking Force Unleashed Vader. Geez, I fucking love it.
Oh, dude, when the fucking thing flies away and he just grabs it out of the air, I yelled out loud, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God,
I was like,
so cool.
Not only does he grab the ship and pull it back down, but then the viciousness with which he like rips panels. He's like, oh. And come to find out there was a decoy shuttle there, which you can actually spot earlier in the episode if you have a keen eye. You can see they show two shuttles there back next to each other. It was just great. I love watching angry Vader. One of my biggest surprise. What's the word I'm looking for? One of the biggest surprises in after Disney bought Lucasfilm was when we heard they were bringing back Vader in anything, whether there was the rumor before Rogue One came out that he might appear, or now here in this. You're like you groan, right? Because you're like, don't bring him back. You're gonna fuck him up. And I honestly feel like they've only done him justice in a way, because, and we've talked about this before with larger Star Wars conversations, and I will not drag this out for too long, but Vader, we were told in the original Star Wars films how mean and cruel and how the depravity and how he's the super powerful Sith, and you really only see him do a handful of things. He's getting towards the end of his life in those movies. He's an old fucking dude in that suit. And you know how strong Anakin is in the prequels, and as a duelist and as a Force user, and so you never really got the true boogeyman Vader that was always in the expanded universe and in the novels. And Jesus Christ, between the hallway scene in Rogue One and the stuff here in Obi-Wan, just him snapping necks, dragging people on the ground, this immense display of fucking power. It's incredible. And I love it. And I don't honestly know if episode 6 is going to be able to top this episode and or end the show in a way that's satisfactory to me. But episode 5, honestly, was just such a great episode that I'll rewatch it whenever I feel like giving some Vader porn.
Yeah.
Him just walking through lines of stormtroopers to rip a spaceship out of the sky. It was fucking great.
Yeah, it was great because it was like right. It was like this. The shot was incredible because camera's right behind him. He opens the door. He like follows the ship up, and then he just like throws his hand up, and it just like seizes in the middle of the air. It was a very, very cool shot.
It's struggling trying to get away.
Just thinking about it. I gotta watch that scene when we're done.
Just one thing I haven't talked about too much. I continue to be impressed by the young actor who plays Leia. They did a good job of writing her in very subtle way. Well, it's not so subtle, but they did a great job of writing her. Yeah. She's like, give me a ladder. Like when she has to go fix the thing, she's like, I can get up there. And they're like, no, princess. She's like, give me a ladder. And then Obi-Wan got on her good side, and he was like, I trust her. Yeah. Give her the ladder. And she's like, thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Are you my dad? All right, moving on. Go see it. It's a great episode. Hey-o. Great episode. Go see it. The Boys episode 5. I mean, what can I say? The show continues to be really wonderful for me. The musical in this episode was great. Karen,
the big issue that the big mistake we made is we talked about this episode so much in the DMs that like I don't know what else to cover here. We broke the save it till the pod for episode 5.
Is it Karen Fukuhara? Is that her name?
Sounds right to me. Yeah.
Who plays Kimiko? She's just a fucking joy. I'm like falling in love with her as I watch this show. I mean, she was already a gorgeous woman, but she's such like this charming personality that when she realized she had no powers and she was so stoked about it.
Mm-hmm. It's too heavy.
Yeah, she's like, it's too heavy, and my brain immediately made very childish jokes, I will say.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? This episode was awesome. Soldier Boy coming back to modern day New York, much like Captain America showing back up, except for, let's talk about the one great parallel. There's been a lot of parody videos of Captain America out on the internet about how he would really be in modern day. because he was raised in the 40s and 50s and 30s in an era where things like same-sex couples were not accepted, where black people were still segregated from whites, very shitty stuff. So there's been a lot of parody videos that have come out since like the Avengers films, joking about like how he'd walk into a room and say some really off-color shit, like no pun intended, but and they're funny enough. And then there's Soldier Boy, who they embody in this episode. He's walking down the street and he's looking at, he's like two men kissing. He's like disgusted by it, and he sees people holding hands that he doesn't think should be holding hands. And I really loved this episode. I don't know, the Seth Rogen cameo was pretty good. Of him, Crimson Countess doing a fucking OnlyFans stream to him, and that whole ape song shit that she's obsessed with is fucking hilarious. But now she's dead.
She's big time dead all the way.
Big time melted by him. It turns out that everyone on his team just fucking hated him, and she didn't even get paid to give that motherfucker up to the Russians. She just did it because they hated him. The whole main emotional arc of this episode is that Huey is still taking temporary V to feel like he can contribute and like he's a good member of the team, and he's doing it behind Starlight's back. Mm-hmm. And that kind of blows up on him here. And as much as it's sad about the way they split, I still kind of want them to stay split up because I want a really emotional fall from grace arc from Huey, like we talked about, with him realizing that to do what he thinks is right deep down, he has to like let go of the stuff he loves and kind of be Butcher, which ultimately is like not the right positive message, and that's why I kind of want it so bad.
I think that's like there's been a couple things this season, an overall excellent season, but there have been a couple, I don't know, sub arcs that have been just frustrating to me. I think last week we talked about how I was annoyed with like MM and Butcher having this scene where Butcher's basically like in so many words saying, like, oh, you're the real leader of this team. And then like 5 minutes later, MM's like, there's nothing left for me to lead. And it's like, what was the point of that really great scene? If we were just going to dismantle it. But like, if it was a couple episodes of him doing this and that, then it would make sense. But like immediately afterwards, whatever. I don't know. And then you've spent 5 episodes of Starlight basically like just getting fucking dunked on by Homelander, like thwarting her plans, killing her childhood love and like, you'd think if anything, she would be radicalized. What's funny is I've been saying that like I find Huey kind of annoying, and he's finally having the arc that I want him to have, which is that he's becoming more, like you said, more Butcher-like. He's becoming more of a dick. And it doesn't mean that he's moving in the right direction. He's becoming a better person, but he's becoming a more interesting character because he's sacrificing things. He's giving up the parts that make him him because he wants to protect other people. And it's sad and tragic. I mean, like, that's what makes for a good story. And so even though, like, nobody has felt the effects of Homelander's tyranny, more, except for maybe Butcher, more than Starlight, all of a sudden, even though she's been gung-ho about doing whatever it takes, when he was like, I have superpowers and can kill him now, she's like, I can't believe you would do this. I'm like,
I know.
What? It felt like forced drama. I'm with you though. Like, I want to see, I get like there's an allegory happening with drug use, which is what you brought up last week. And so it's kind of like if your lover were to say, this is really the last time, babe, and I'm going clean from now on.
Right.
And then you run into that, you show up somewhere where they weren't expecting you to be, and they're like, oh, I'm high right now. Like, I get that that's what they're going for.
Trying to be honest with you.
But the, like, I feel like we're lost in the allegory at this point because it doesn't make sense for like the literal narrative of the show. She should be on board. She should be like, oh, we're this is another step in the right direction. Excellent.
Right.
But instead she's just for some reason like, not like this. Like, you just saw him gore your childhood, like your first love. Like, his face wasn't there anymore. Like, I don't know. It's just frustrating. We'll see where they go with it. But
well, I think it was a twofer. I don't think it was just that she lied to him about doing the V again. I think it was also about the fact that they knocked out MM because Huey knew what Butcher's plan was. Butcher's plan, if you remember, they were talking. They were like, "We're gonna knock out Soldier Boy when he gets here. We have the drugs to knock him out, and then we're gonna hold him until we figure out how to use him against Homelander." But the real plan from Butcher, because Butcher hates all soups, is to just let Soldier Boy fucking murk his ex-girlfriend to make a deal with him to go, let's team up. Yeah. Instead of trying to capture him like MM wanted to, they knocked MM out, made a fucking deal with him, let him murk his fucking ex-girlfriend. They tied her up, basically put a fucking bow on her for him, so she couldn't fight back. And then said, hey, she's in there. You want her? Have fun murdering her. We don't give a shit. When you come out, I want to talk about teaming up and doing something. And I think, like, despite everything Starlight's been through, she's like, that's not the right way to do this. Like, she's still clinging on to like that lawful good somewhere, even though she's seen horrible things. And I get what you're saying, because I agree that I'm like, I know the ends don't justify the means, but sometimes they have to justify, you know what I mean? Like, you're dealing with Homelander. He's a fucking insane. You can't, sometimes there's no right way. Sometimes there's not a right way to beat someone that doesn't involve getting your hands a little dirty. And that's what, Huey is ultimately caving to, which I love, but I see what you're saying. It does come off a little wonky. I love this fucking season so far, and I am so hungry for every new fucking episode. Yeah. Partially because I want to jerk off to Herogasm. Oh, different things from different pages.
When he first popped out and he has this big beard, I said to Veronica, I was like, I want my beard to look like that. And she was like, your beard is never going to look like that.
Painted on. Like the hair density is so insane. I feel like he takes testosterone pills for his testosterone pills.
Horse cum on his face. He jerks them off just to get it.
It's like McLovin.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, horse cum, and that's how. What do you think the Secret of the Stars is? I don't fucking know. Anyway, moving on. Miss Marvel episode 2. I'm not going to spend much time on this. Look, I said what I said about the first episode. It literally feels like a teen family drama on Freeform. I will say 2 positive things about this episode. One, when she started actually using her powers, I thought it was cool. I thought it looked cool. The CGI is about what I expect for a Marvel show. It wasn't the best, but it looked pretty cool. I like the way they're visualizing her powers as this like light that she can harden and control. When she catches this kid off the side of a building, that looked cool. So whenever she lights up, I'm on board, which makes me sound shallow, but I cannot relate at all. And maybe it's just because I'm a almost 35-year-old white guy now who, like, one is I can't relate to her culture, and 2, the show just comes off as like so cringy and unrelatable because like the big drama of episode 1 was my parents won't let me go to a thing I want to go to, and I can't connect with the show on a level. And I've talked about the dialogue being a little cringy, and that's still true for me. It got a little better in this episode, but it was still pretty cringy. I'm not 100% sure where the show's going. I know we're doing 2-episode rule, and I don't expect you to watch it anymore. I'm probably going to keep watching it, but I'm not a big fan of the show. It's not hitting for me. I like when I'm a Neanderthal, so I like when shiny lights are going on. I like when she's using her powers, but the rest of the show is just not doing it for me.
No, I agree. Those parts were done in a cool way. I like that. There was this interesting way where they showed like she kind of initially had control of her powers when she was trying to save that kid, and then sort of slipped up and had to like make do by just giving him these tiny platforms to
she stopped focusing,
break his velocity as
still
he was
great
falling.
Shots though. He pinball him.
Yeah. Like those parts were cool. But no, you know what I realized? This is a good show for its target demographic, which I'm not a part of that. And that's okay. I'm getting older. Like not everything is meant for me, and that's okay. And I'm happy that people are enjoying it. A lot of people love it. It's being rated very well. But like you said, it's just, I feel like it's a kid's show, and a lot of kids shows I can get into regardless. Some of them I love, like Bluey, which I just can't even begin to express how much I love that show. And that's for like very young children. But it's just not for me, and I'm not mad about that. I can see that a lot was put into it. There's like it's made by Muslims. It's about Muslims, and they are bringing their culture into the show. I'm happy to see that. Although apparently there's been some backlash from the Muslim community that it has not been.
Oh, really?
Accurately portraying, or like only doing what's the word I'm looking, like superficially portraying their culture.
Okay.
But in any event, it's just not. It's not for me.
It wasn't written with this in mind.
Yeah. Which is okay. Not everything needs to be written.
I'm not saying
with me in mind.
99.9% of entertainment is written with me in mind. So by all means,
take the L. Yeah,
make more shows that are not made for me. It's
definitely I can't watch this weekly anymore. There's going to be some rainy Sunday afternoon where I bang out the other 4 episodes or however many it's going to be. Because like I said, it's well made. It's not like this is dog shit. It's just not.
Yeah, it's like if they gave a freeform show a budget.
Yeah.
I know I keep saying that, and I say it as like an insult. I just mean the writing style. It's like, and again, it's one of the things I related to the first episode around was like some of the dialogue just feels like way over the top.
Yeah.
And it just comes off as like superficial to me, even when I know they're really trying to capture that teenage angst of like, the teenage girl who her parents don't understand.
Yeah.
And I whatever. If you love this show, I want you to love it. I want it to be for you. I'm still gonna watch it. I just, like I said, dumb idiot over here. I like the flashy bits when she's slinging, light platforms and that stuff. If nothing else, I'm gonna finish watching it just because we know she's gonna be in Captain Marvel 2, which is called The Marvels. It'll be her. She'll get to meet her idol, which should be appropriately adorable. And Monica Rambeau's in it, who I've really liked as a character from WandaVision. So looking forward to all of that. I just, the struggle of getting there because I'm not super into this show is what it is. Who cares?
Oh, speaking of Wanda, I think that Doctor Strange 2 comes out on Disney Plus tomorrow.
Pretty soon.
Yeah. If not tomorrow, it is soon.
Might have to do a rewatch.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam said we found a sitter. She's totally down for Thor.
What's the date on that?
July 7th, I think.
Right.
It's the Friday after 4th of July, I think.
Okay.
So I figured we'd be going that Saturday.
Right.
I'll look at times tomorrow morning and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Last but not least, we also watched The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal. I'm going to start off with a quick summary and then let you talk a little bit.
Hit me with a quickie.
I thought the movie was great. It was very enjoyable. When you watch the trailers, I think they smartly hide the plot from you. So the trailers, at least to me, unless I'm big dumb and missed it, the trailers to me just said, hey, look, Nick Cage playing a meta role of himself, and he's going to be a little crazy, but maybe it'll be fun because Pedro's here is like a super fan. And all I really got was like mysterious billionaire pays to have him come out. And this whole other underlying plot that involves a drug cartel and these two characters kind of falling in love with each other. And in the process, sort of reigniting Nick's passion for what he does. And I really thought it was just a fun time. The movie was very fun. How do you feel about it?
I agree. I think that it didn't accomplish what I thought it was going to accomplish, but it like surprised me in other ways enough that I still considered it a really good movie. So like I thought it was going to be this like raucous laughter, good time. I didn't think it was particularly funny. There were a couple parts that of course were
right,
but overall like it wasn't. I feel like a lot of the jokes fell more flat than they wanted them to. Nick Cage is very extra. You have to be in the mood for him. Maybe I wasn't in the mood for it. It's not that I thought any joke was particularly like bad, but it just wasn't like I thought that I was going to be roaring in laughter from the beginning to the end, and I just didn't get that out of it. What surprised me about it is how endearing the relationship between Pedro Pascal and Nick Cage's characters were. They were just adorable, and like it's funny every couple years a buddy movie comes out, and I've been watching buddy movies since I was a fucking kid. And every time I see one, I go, this formula is old. Like, this is the last buddy movie. Like, buddy movies are done now. They have to be. And then I just get surprised. And even like, still, the cycle continues. I saw this. I'm like, there's no way they're going to be able to pull this out of a hat again. Like, this has got to be the last one, right? And 5 years from now, I'll be watching one and be proven wrong again. They just had this, first of all, the meta commentary on, like, they're explaining the movie as it's happening through this, like, script that they're writing within the movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I thought it was really fun. It wasn't always, like, the smartest thing in the world, but it was very fun. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I feel like out of all, everyone, Pedro Pascal is what made this movie work.
He was such a fucking charming son of a bitch.
Dude, he's adorable. He was just like,
hug him.
Dude, Veronica and I, after it ended, I was like, wouldn't you just want him to hug you? Like, doesn't he look like just such a huggable person? Yeah. There's the one scene where they take acid and they're in the car, and in slow motion, Pedro Pascal just like looks at him like this, and his eyes are just like a light, and I'm like, I fucking love this guy. He's just so adorable.
There's two moments in this movie that I like remember. I know you said some of the jokes don't land, but some of them are pretty killer. One of them is when he walks into the secret room that he thinks he's gonna find like drugs in.
Yeah.
He instead finds like a really creepy shrine to himself. This is Nick Cage. Yeah. And he finds the wax statue of himself from Face Off, and Nick Cage goes up to it and he goes, what is this? And he goes, oh, it's a wax. He goes, it's grotesque. And then he goes, how much? He wants this grotesque image of himself. So I also, behind the scenes, I watched this movie on a whim one night, and I sent Derek a picture of my sobbing face. There wasn't a particularly crazy emotional beat, but they made reference to Paddington 2 throughout the movie several times. And then the whole movie is sort of how he's got this fractured.
Hang on. I've never seen Paddington 2.
I haven't either.
Okay, I was going to say, now, Veronica, you know that's the highest rated movie of all time, literally?
I heard Paddington and Paddington 2 were very good.
It is literally the highest rated movie of all time. It was tied with Citizen Kane for like however many years, and then they unearthed some negative review of Citizen Kane from like the 70s that brought its score down by like 0.01, and Paddington 2 is now the highest rated movie of all time.
For a split second, this idea sounds good. Then I realized it would be bad. I'm like, let's do a fucking watch along of Paddington 2. It would just be us sobbing on YouTube for like.
I thought you were about to spoil it. That's the only. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm not.
Because now we want to watch. We want to watch this.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. But no, the whole movie is kind of about how Nick is an actor, and by nature, most actors can be at least some degree of self-absorbed. You kind of have to be. It's all about your image in that industry. So his daughter just feels like it's always about him, when she's not wrong. And so their relationship is fractured. They don't have a good one. And the whole time, he talks about Paddington 2. They watch it together, Pedro and Nick, and they're crying at the end of it. And he's like, Paddington 2 is fucking great.
Yeah.
And then the end of the movie is him, having repaired his relationship with his daughter. And they're watching Paddington 2 together. And I don't know what about it. It was such a simple, like, easy dunk of an emotional beat, but it just got me.
Yeah.
That was it. It was just them sitting comfortably on the couch with Nick looking just content that he was sitting with his daughter. And I was just like, that's nice.
What I thought was another thing that was interesting about it is initially, like, it seems like it's not that they ever said directly, like, Nick Cage is in bad movies or he's a bad actor. But they really flirted with that idea. And so, like, at a certain point, I'm like, how could you, as someone who has dedicated decades of your life to acting, like, sign on to a role where they're making fun of you, not in your role, but you as yourself?
Right.
And they, in the, like, very close to the beginning of the movie, he's talking to his therapist about, like, I feel like that was not a bit. I feel like he was being very sincere when he was just like, everybody else goes to work, they put on their hard hat and they're a construction worker or they're this or they're that. He's like, this is my job. This is what I do 9 to 5. Like, this is, so of course I just do whatever roles are thrown at me and blah, blah, blah. And I just thought that was so, I feel like that had to be cathartic for him as an actor, because people love him and people respect him, but he is the ass end of a lot of jokes, and he has been for a long time. And I feel like that was him saying, like, hey, like, I had a family that I had to take care of, and this is something that people pay me to do, and you go to work and you get paid to do what you do. So that's why I do this. Like, it's not like I just am some dunce and I accept any role I get. I want the money so that I can support my family.
Although he was in that one Wonderland movie, which was
couldn't have been paid much for that.
maybe just don't accept those ones.
And I'm so glad we got a Mandy reference. It was very minuscule, but
that was cool. Is that the chainsaw from Mandy?
Yeah.
I've still never watched Mandy.
It's really that's
and
great.
I've been told it's very good. I want to watch that. I also want to watch Pig.
Me too. Yeah.
Which I heard was also
Mandy's
really good.
You just have to go into it knowing that it's a somewhat experimental film, and as long as you know that going in, you'll enjoy it.
I hate that preface.
No.
I'm just kidding. All right. We're done. That was it. That's the end. Finite. But no, I'm just kidding. Where can everybody find you at?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Dr. Gloom MD. That's TCNPLAYS. No, just kidding. That's DRGLOOMMD.
This is nuts.
I'm
a child.
Nuts.
All right. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at TCN Plays. The streaming has started again. I'll probably be live tomorrow night. Which
TCN stands for Total Comin' Nuts.
Total Cum Nuts. Total Cum Nuts. Total Cum Nuts. Oh man, TCN, Total Cum Nuts. I wish I could just make that the episode title, but I can't do that. We already put cum in the title. I'm not going to do it again. You don't put cum in the title twice. Nobody puts cum in the title twice.
No, can't do it.
All right, we're going to go.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week. Next week we have the finale of Obi-Wan. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint, although I fear that it may.
Okay.
Episode 6 of The Boys. I forget how many episodes. I think previous seasons have been 10 episodes long.
10, yeah.
So we're in the latter half now. Yeah, and then we'll have other stuff to talk about, which we'll decide offline. So we're going to go now. You have a good time. Goodbye. Have a good week. Bye.